Hello, welcome to your Scorpio full moon forecast. I'm Adrienne DeCoates, and I'm excited to share with you about the Scorpio full moon happening on Saturday, May 15th. First thing I want to share is that May in numerology, it is an 8 number, and that's because if you take the number for 2019, which is a 3, and add it to the 5 for May being the 5th month, you get an 8. And all the numbers in numerology, the form of them relates to the symbolism of the energy for that number. And so the number 8, it is actually an infinity symbol. If you turn it on its side, it looks like the infinity symbol. And 8 is the number of manifestation, and it represents that we can tap into that infinite creative energy whenever we like. And especially, when the number 8 is activated, it really is a time to tap in and bring our ideas into physical form in a bigger way than usual. And that's another thing about the form of the number 8. It's got those 2 circles, one above the other, and it represents heaven above, or the spiritual, the non-physical, and then the earth below. And then they're connected by that infinity symbol, that infinite loop of energy and connection between the two, bringing the ideas, the divine downloads, the inspirations from that non-physical, ethereal realm into manifested 3D reality. So now that you're totally clear on the symbolism of the number 8, let's talk about taking best advantage of it during this full moon. Because, one thing that's notable about this full moon, it's happening on the 18th. So, there's that 8 again, along with number 1. And when we add those together, we get a 9. And then to come up with the core energy for a number, or for a date rather, in numerology, we add it to the month number. And so when you add that 9 from the 18 to the number 8 for May, you also get an 8, because 9 plus 8 is 17, 1 plus 7 is 8. So again, the date that the full moon is happening on is highlighting that 8 manifestation energy. And even just that it's a full moon, it's when the moon has fully manifested in a way. It's when it's at its peak, it's at its full brightness. And so really it's a time of culmination. And it's definitely, the full moon is related to the intentions that you set at the new moon and what's been happening over the course of this month as the sun has been moving through Taurus. And it's also related to perhaps seeds that you planted, intentions that you set, directions that you began heading in at the Scorpio new moon, which was back in early November 2018. And so you can also reflect on, what was happening around that time, and how does that connect to what's going on now, and are there things that are culminating or completing, or that you're seeing from a new perspective under the illuminating light of this full moon? That's another thing to think about. And as I was mentioning, we've got Taurus, the sun in Taurus, the moon in Scorpio at this full moon. Like any full moon, it's an opposition between the sun and the moon. And because it's happening at 27 degrees Scorpio, it's towards the end of both of those signs. And we've had this Taurus energy, since about April 20th, I believe. And that's really been supporting us in manifesting as well, along with the 8 energy of the, month of May for numerology. This Taurus energy is really supporting manifestation as well, because it's such a grounded, earthy type of energy. Taurus is perhaps the most connected to the physical plane. Not only is it an earth sign, but it's a fixed sign as well. And so it's very solid, very stable, and we can really leverage it to focus and, really ground our desires into manifestation. And so leading up to this full moon, another supportive energy for manifestation as well is that the sun is making a harmonious connection with the planets that are in Capricorn, another earth sign. And that's why it's a harmonious connection, is because we've got the earth energy of Taurus is interacting harmoniously with this earth energy of Capricorn. And of course, Capricorn, it's a big focus in 2019 and 2018, 2020. All these years are connected because we have this transit of Saturn moving through the sign of Capricorn and building towards an exact conjunction with Pluto, who's been in Capricorn since 2008. They're going to be meeting exact in January, but until that time, they're dancing together in this part of the sky in Capricorn. And so this long-term transit in Capricorn, which is helping us to transform this part of our lives, whatever part in your chart corresponds with Capricorn. For a lot of people, it could relate to career. Capricorn, in a general way, it's about how you present yourself in the world. So your profession, your reputation, your standing in the world. And so there's been a transformation happening in this Capricorn energy since Pluto's been in there since 2008. It's a long-term project. And since Saturn has joined Pluto in December 2017. And so thinking about, what's been happening for you in this Capricorn part of your chart, if you know it, but, just kind of reflecting on, if you don't know your astrology chart as well, you can think about, what's been going on since 2008 that's been sort of a theme that could be getting some light shed on it, or could be reaching a peak or a culmination of some type during this full moon. And so the full moon, it's happening at 27 degrees, as I mentioned, of Scorpio, and the numerology of the 27, if you add the 2 and the 7 together, it's a 9 is the core energy of that number. And, as well, this is happening on the 18th, and there's that 9 again, 1 plus 8 is 9. So there's a 9 connection happening with this full moon. There's another 9 that actually shows up as well with this full moon, because at this time we have the North Node, which is in Cancer, and the planet Neptune in Pisces, both at 18 degrees as well. So there's another 9. I'll talk more about that in just a moment, but I just wanted to point out that that's another instance of the number 9 showing up for this full moon. And the number 9, the form of it, which relates to its symbology, is it looks like a person with a big head on their shoulders. And the 9 is looking back at the numbers before it in sequence. It's turned towards those numbers 1 through 8 that are before it. And that's because it represents the cumulative wisdom of the numbers 1 through 8. It's the final number before a new series of numbers, the double digits. And in numerology, the 1 through 9 are the core energies and the core symbols. And so 9 represents culmination, completion. It represents all this wisdom that's been accumulated. And so because this is happening at the 27th degree of Scorpio, at this number 9 core energy degree, I think at this new moon, it represents a time of potential completion or culmination, but also potential for this great wisdom to come to you based on, the experience of what's been happening. Because the full moon can also be a time where under the light of the moon, things that are in dark, symbolically are illuminated. The full moon literally is a time when in the night sky, there is the most amount of light that you could have. And so you see things that you couldn't see during a new moon, for example, or when the moon is not as bright. And so, with this number 9 in play as well, there is a sort of wisdom that's implied with this full moon and this opportunity to reveal what may not have been seen before. And that's definitely the case, I think, additionally, with the fact that this is a full moon in Scorpio, because Scorpio is also a sign that is really interested in what's beneath the surface, what's the truth. Scorpio is all about getting to the heart of the matter. It doesn't like the superficial. It wants to get at what's really true. And that's something that I think is important to focus on at this full moon is, what do you really want? What's really your truth? What's really where you want to focus your energy this month and, for the next several years, with this Capricorn influence of the long-term thing that you're building in your life, whatever that is. And the power of Scorpio energy comes from that willingness and that desire to really get at the heart of a matter and really see beyond the superficial into what is most true. Because when you allow yourself to get in touch with what's really true for you, that's where you really inspire a passion within yourself. If you don't let yourself really claim what you truly want, then you don't access your full passion, your full desire, your full drive. And that's what Scorpio energy is known for. It's a fixed water sign, and the fixed nature is about this steadiness and this focus and this passion and this single-mindedness. And the water nature is the emotional nature. And so it's about this passion and this drive that you can have when you really get in touch with what you truly desire and the power of that. Because when you're single-minded and you're in touch with your true authentic desire, then you're unstoppable and the universe falls in line behind you. You manifest like nobody's business. So it's really something to think about at this time. There is this opportunity to have this full moon shine a light on for you, what you truly desire. And so being honest with yourself about that is going to allow you to access more of that manifesting mojo that's possible. And there's a couple aspects happening on the same day of the full moon that I wanted to mention that add to the flavor of it, that add to the energy of it. The first is that we have Mercury at 23 degrees Taurus is going to trine Pluto at 23 of Capricorn. And so Mercury's been making its way along with the sun through Taurus, through this earthy energy. It's going to make this harmonious connection to Pluto on the same day of this full moon. And again, tying back in with the Scorpio energy, Pluto's the modern ruler for Scorpio. They have a similar type of energy where Pluto as well wants to get at the truth of the matter and wants to focus on what's beneath the surface, what's not being revealed, what might be seen as taboo or as, not something for polite discussion, but is, what's really raw or true or real for you. And it may not always be comfortable to look at, but Pluto is trying to reveal those deeper issues and that underlying truth, because as I just talked about, in that truth is a power of transformation. And it's only when you really tap into those core desires and that core truth that you can really access that. And with this Mercury making a trine, making a harmonious connection to Pluto, Mercury is the mind. It's what we're consciously aware of and what we're able to articulate to ourselves and to others. And so there is this powerful connection for the mind that day to be able to go deep and to penetrate through the issues and, whatever maybe a superficial appearance of a situation in your life. There's a chance to get really clear with yourself on that day, I think, about what you really desire. And this Pluto Mercury is again encouraging that. The other thing that's going on related to what you desire and what you value on that same day before the new moon goes exact, just like, maybe a couple hours before, is we're going to have Venus meeting Uranus in the sky at about 3 degrees of Taurus. And so Venus, which represents what we value, what we love, represents our ability to relate to other people, so relationships. It's meeting with Uranus, the planet of change, revolution, enlightenment, sudden insights, this really dynamic planet that's in the sign of Taurus. It just recently moved in Taurus in March and is going to be there for a long time, for 7 years. And so Venus meeting Uranus on the same day of this full moon is really just adding to the themes that we've already been discussing about really getting you in touch with what you truly desire, because Venus represents what you value, what you desire, what you're drawn towards, what you take pleasure in. And Uranus is this planet that will reveal things in an instant. It will shock and surprise you. It's kind of its nature. And the purpose is to make you more free, to make you more enlightened, to show you a new perspective, and ultimately to change things for the better. But it's just the way that Uranus goes about it can often be shocking or surprising. And so, at this full moon, some of what gets revealed, it may be totally out of the blue. There may be elements to it that just open you up and help you see things in a totally new way when it comes to what you desire, or, situations in your life, wherever it's playing out for you. But I think as well, this connection of Uranus and Venus can be very favorable. Venus is a planet that wants to help get us to what we want, and in Taurus especially, Venus is the ruler of Taurus, and so she's very at home there. She operates very well in Taurus, and so with her coming together with Uranus, I think it's a potential for a very positive breakthrough is, possible with that energy. I could see where Venus is allowing something to manifest, that number 8 energy that we were mentioning, working together with Uranus in a powerful, sudden, and sort of breakthrough quantum leap kind of a way, because that would be very characteristic for Uranus. So that's something that may transpire for some of us on this full moon. And then the other thing to mention is that the ruler of the full moon, traditionally it's Mars, the ruler of Scorpio, and Mars has recently entered the sign of Cancer. And so the other thing that's going on with Mars being an early Cancer is that, just like with Venus, he is in a conversation with Uranus, because Uranus at the beginning of Taurus, Mars is approaching a sextile, a favorable window of opportunity, sort of a connection with Uranus in Taurus. And so again, it's a similar kind of theme that we've been talking about. Mars, which represents our energy, our drive, our ability to go after what we want. It's in Cancer, which is the moon's sign, which represents nurturing and what makes us feel safe and comfortable and secure. And so because Mars is ruling this full moon from Cancer, there's a sense about what you're manifesting or what you're focusing on creating. There's a need to take into account also what would make you feel the most stable, the most secure. And that's being emphasized from the Capricorn energy that we talked about as well. Capricorn wants you to focus on the long game. It wants you to build things in a sustainable way. And that's similar with this Cancer energy as well. And Mars approaching this sextile with Uranus, it's going to be exact a few days later on the 22nd. That again is presenting a potential window of opportunity for you to take a dramatic new action that helps you take your life in a new direction, or take a project that you've been working on or a long-term goal, approach it from a new angle, because Mars is how you approach things. It's your action, your drive, and it's going to be something that's supportive of your ability to nurture yourself in some way, this Cancer energy, because the North Node is in Cancer right now, which represents what we're moving towards and our sense of purpose at this time. And really the final thing I just want to mention about this full moon is that there really is a heavy emphasis around this time of planets in water and earth energies. We have all the planets are either in water signs or earth signs, except for Jupiter, which is in a fire sign. And so the water and the earth signs, they are yin type of energies. So they are receptive, they're a little slower moving, they're more reflective. And so, at this full moon, while you may not feel inspired to take action right away, or you may find that there's powerful action that's happening internally. There's powerful breakthroughs or insights with all these Uranus connections, and with the Mercury connection with Pluto, helping you get deeper into what you really desire, working with that Scorpio energy. It may be a little bit of a time before you're actually ready to really take action on it, and the energy is going to start to shift just a few days later with the sun moving in to Gemini, and Mercury is going to follow closely behind. And actually, right when the sun moves into Gemini, Mercury is going to move in on the same day, and they are going to be conjunct at that time at 0 degrees of Gemini, and that'll be on May 21st, I believe. And that could be a moment of, clarity of action, clarity of insight around what's going on with this full moon. And so I believe that's all the things I wanted to mention about this full moon. It sounds like it's going to be a really powerful and potent full moon. It perhaps could be kind of dramatic. That's, with all this Scorpio energy, with all the heightened emotions of this water and the earthiness. Hopefully there's enough earth in there to keep things kind of balanced as well. That's, I think helpful with this strong water emotional energy as well. So I think overall it should be an interesting full moon, definitely an opportunity for manifesting at the least insights and clarity and next directions that you want things to go in, and at the best, potentially with all the Uranus breakthrough energy, really some new tangible physical manifestations, some sudden up leveling in certain areas of life. We'll see what happens. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you like this kind of content, and if you'd like to see future videos of mine. I'm planning to do the full moon and new moons in coming months. Then go ahead, hit subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of my channel. And that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon. Bye.